So here's my 1995 Ford F150 Eddie Bauer. I bought this truck a little less than a year ago from a guy in Indiana. And I was looking for something just to kind of drive around town, take to the lumber yard, maybe pull the boat with. So I was looking for a square body Ford from the 90s. Didn't want to buy a new truck, didn't want to pay the depreciation on it, and it's not going to be a daily driver. So I found this truck online, didn't have great photos of it, went out there and met the gentleman. He's an older gentleman who lived in northern Indiana, and turns out he bought this truck brand new. He told me he put every option on it that was available from Ford. He had a company vehicle, so he didn't drive it that often. It basically sat inside, and he would drive it on occasion. He told me he never drove it in the winter. And on top of that, right when he first bought it, it was he had it undercoated. So it's got Zybart undercoating across the entire bottom of the truck. So went out there, checked it out. Was a really solid looking truck, no rust on it. Didn't show great, it had been sitting for a while. So brought it back to Illinois and spent really the better part of the last year working on it. So I'm gonna walk around, show you some of the issues, the minor issues it has on the paint, and just kind of some things to point out, but also talk about what I've done with it. I'll say he kept great care of this truck. The only thing that I noticed after I got it back and threw it up on a lift and started looking at it was really hadn't done any general maintenance to it. He kept up with his oil changes. You know, it's got a new battery in it, but it had a lot of original parts. It was still the original Motorcraft plugs, wires, still original hoses, and a lot of stuff had just aged out. So went through and really addressed all those issues. So first of all, as you can see, truck's sitting really level right now. When I bought it, the nose was dropped quite a bit. And so I put a rough country, it's like a 2-inch leveling lift on it. So I think it's actually 2 inches in the back, and I think it's like 4 in the front to get the truck to sit level. I didn't want to get something that was gonna lift it too high or was gonna impact the performance on the road, but I wanted to just lift it up a little bit, give it a little more of an aggressive look, and also all of the suspension components needed to be replaced anyways. So you can see we have the new rough country springs in the front, along with new shock absorbers. And then the back, instead of going with the blocks, bought the new leaf springs and the new shocks for the back. So it's got brand new leaves in the back that sit a little higher with the shocks. And so had that kit. That was the first thing I did. Lifted the truck out, fixed all the poor ride performance that it really had from all the original equipment. Everything we pulled off was original suspension parts from 95, and now it sits great, and I really like the way it looks. Second thing was, he was still running on the original tires, so they were really aged out. And so I picked up these Pro Comp. I really like Pro Comp. I run them on my other truck and my SUV, so I picked up some Pro Comp AT Sports. I only got a couple hundred miles on this truck since I put these new tires on. They're really quiet, but they got a little more of an aggressive look. These are 31s. I think the stock Fords are 29s, so they're a little bigger. Got about a 2-inch bigger tire, but I really like the way they sit. And they're quiet on the road at high speed, which is what I was going for. So as you can tell, this truck is in great shape. It's never been crashed. It's never been repainted. The color is great because it's been sitting inside. I've always kept it inside, and the original owner kept it inside the entire time. So there's not hardly any sun damage. You can tell just looking at the headlights. These are the original headlights in this truck, and there's hardly any yellowing on them at all. So walking around here, the hood is real clean. Outside of this dent right there, you can kind of see that. Something fell on it, something soft, didn't chip the paint, but it's got a dent in the hood right there about the size of a quarter. Right front fender's solid. It's got the great two-tone paint on it since it's Eddie Bauer. Really like the look of that. Passenger door is solid. And then on the box back here, so on the box does have some small scratches on the other side. The passenger side's pretty solid. There's nothing along the top. A lot of times people, are throwing stuff in the box and the top of the truck gets scratched. I don't imagine the original owner really hauled anything in this, because even the box itself had hardly any scratches in it. Tailgate's solid. A lot of times you'll see dents or dings along the top from stuff hanging out of the back or people dropping it and hitting things. And then the one thing that everybody looks for on the tailgates is, do we have rust down in here? Nothing. I know this truck came from Indiana, but it looks like a southern truck. There's no rust on the gate in the back. I had the box rhino lined, and there was no rust in this box before they did it, so nothing was gone over. Coming over here on the driver's side, you can see we got a small scrape right here. It's probably about 4 inches long. It didn't come out with the buffing. And then actually you can see there's some very faint scratches right along here from where somebody put something over the top of the railing here into the bed. And then moving up here, we have a couple spots where the gloss coats failed. This one's probably about the size of a dime. We got these 3 little drops right there where the gloss coat failed. And then moving up here, we can see the driver's side door and the back panel there are really solid. You have your typical kind of scratches inside the door handle where people's keys are, or maybe their gloves where it's scratching the paint. But outside of that, the exterior is in amazing condition. You can see we got the dual gas tanks here. That was an option on these. We got a front and rear gas tank. They both work. They don't leak. The switch works and the gauge works for both tanks. Outside the lift kit and the new tires, really the only thing that I've done in the exterior of this truck is I replaced the rear tail lights. The original OEM ones had a lot of dust and dirt inside of them, and you just couldn't get it out. The gaskets around the bulbs failed. And so I picked up these LED ones. They got the resistors in them, so they blink at the appropriate speed. But I didn't want to get LED ones that really kind of jumped out. I wanted this truck to look pretty much stock. And so these LED ones, they're nice and bright, but they look really close to the similar OEM style tail lights, which if you wanted to buy, you can still get online pretty easily. The other thing was I replaced the bed light with a smoked LED bed light. The original one that was on there was cracked. But otherwise, the exterior of this truck is pretty much 100% original. I will say when I got it, it didn't look nearly this good, so it took a lot of time and effort. Had a professional detailer go through it, clayed the entire car from front to back, and then buffed it with a ceramic wax, and it just came out looking fantastic. So then moving to the inside of the truck, I take the keys out so you don't have to listen to that. The interior of the truck, when I purchased this from the original owner, and you look for the photos in a listing down below, he still had the original seat covers, the clear plastic seat covers from Ford that were labeled dealer removed before sale. We're still on this truck, and I saved those, and they're gonna go with this truck. We got the original Eddie Bauer floor mats on both sides. There's no cracking on the interior plastic. All your power, doors, windows, and mirrors work. There's no rust on this truck. All the trucks I see here in Northern Illinois rust in the fenders and the bottom of the cabs. And this truck doesn't have any of that. You got the power seat with lumbar right here. It all works. You have your drink holders. Have a little storage compartment here with space for your toll money. That folds up. And these seats, these are the original seats. They look like they just rolled off the factory. Headliner, another thing you see all the time. It's always falling down in these older trucks. The adhesive goes away. It's perfect. And then in the back, we got the original rear floor mat, the bench seat across the back with the cup holders on each side. And a rear manual sliding window. Inside the truck, you can see it's the Eddie Bauer edition. Got power window, power locks over there on the side. Got an auto dimming rear view mirror. You got CD player, AC, FM, AM, FM, sorry. Heat, air conditioning. Got your 4-wheel drive shift on the floor. And over the side, you have your headlights. There's your fuel tank switch for front and rear. I'm gonna start it up right now. Got your overdrive, cruise control, every option Ford had. Sitting right here at 99,455 original miles. Let's take it for a spin. Shifts smooth. When I first bought this truck, it ran real rough. We're doing 25 right now on the side street. But yeah, it ran real rough when I first bought it. Went through, did a lot of just general maintenance stuff on it. New plugs, new wires, all new hoses, flushed the heater core, replaced the water pump, replaced the timing cover, recharge the AC. The high pressure and low pressure valves were both leaking. So replace those, did a pressure check. The AC on this truck works great. Replaced all the heater core lines. These older AC units are really kind of oversized for the vehicle. And when we did the pressure test, we had this truck in the shop. So it wasn't in the sun, but it was in the shop. It was probably about 80 degrees that day, maybe a little warmer. And we let it run on max AC for about 20 minutes just to test the system. And we put a remote barbecue thermometer inside the truck when it was closed up, see how cool it would get down to. And this truck running after about 20 minutes with the AC on max got down to 48 degrees in the cab. I'm gonna turn the radio the rest of the way down. You can hear it's smooth, it's quiet, brakes work great. All the upgraded suspension parts really give this truck a great ride. Yep, that's about it. So the truth is, I was looking for something to drive around town. Like, I almost hit that Porsche. Driving around town and take the dog for a walk and pull the boat with. And I was looking for an older truck. This truck's just too nice to do that with. I only got so much garage space and I still need a truck. I just can't bring myself to use this as a work truck. Got any questions about it, let me know. But it's going up for sale this week. Thank you.